If the Strait of Hormuz is seriously disrupted, oil prices don't drift higher, they spike within hours. Tankers reroute, insurance premiums surge, and naval forces reposition. Global markets react before any sustained exchange fully unfolds. Iran does not need to permanently close the strait to create global shock, it only needs to make it uncertain. Roughly 1/5 of global oil trade passes through this narrow corridor between Iran and Oman. At its most confined zone, traffic moves through a concentrated maritime channel. That concentration makes the Strait of Hormuz one of the most strategically sensitive choke points in the world. So the question isn't whether Iran can seal it indefinitely, the question is how disruption would unfold and what follows. Iran's approach would rely on asymmetry. First, they would likely employ naval mines. Inexpensive, difficult to detect, and psychologically powerful. Even a handful of confirmed mine strikes would slow traffic immediately and drive insurance costs sharply higher. Second, fast attack craft and harassment tactics. Small, heavily armed vessels operating in swarms introduce navigational risk. The objective isn't decisive battle, hesitation. Third, coastal anti-ship missile systems and drones. Mobile launchers positioned along Iran's coastline could threaten tankers without leaving land, while drones could reach out further to harass shipping. Iran would not need sea control, it would only need to raise the risk enough to disrupt commercial confidence. So why escalate this way? The Strait of Hormuz is leverage. If Iran faces direct strikes, severe sanctions, or regime-level pressure, disrupting traffic internationalizes the crisis. It raises costs not only for Washington, but for Europe, China, India, and energy-dependent economies worldwide. It transforms a bilateral confrontation into a global economic event, and global economic pressure reshapes diplomatic calculations. We've seen a version of this dynamic recently in the Red Sea. When Houthi forces targeted shipping, carriers didn't wait for total closure, they rerouted. Transit times increased, fuel costs rose, insurance premiums climbed. The disruption itself, not total shutdown, altered trade flows. Hormuz would operate at a far larger scale. Energy markets respond to risk signals immediately, not just confirmed losses. If disruption occurs, oil futures would likely spike rapidly. Strategic reserve discussions would reemerge. Shipping insurance costs would surge. Inflation pressure could return across energy importing economies. This would not remain a regional naval issue. It would become a global economic shock. And restoring commercial confidence takes time, even after military stability returns. From there, three paths emerge. First, contain disruption. Short-term instability, followed by a mine-clearing operation and then gradual stabilization. Second, sustained naval confrontation. Strikes on coastal systems, Iranian retaliation, and proxy escalation. And third, regional escalation. Expanded strikes, broader involvement, extended oil shock. The most probable near-term scenario would be limited disruption, followed by intense international pressure to restore flow. But probability shifts quickly if casualties or sustained strikes occur. The key indicators to monitor would include confirmed mine deployment, sustained tanker rerouting, missile launcher mobilization, or further carrier strike group repositioning. The strait does not need to close to matter, it only needs to become uncertain. An uncertainty in a choke point this critical can reshape global stability very quickly. Hey, thanks for watching, I really do appreciate it guys. Have a good day.